If you clicked on this video, there's a good chance you want to know how to actually get taller. And there's a lot of people out there that will say they're mainly genetic and you can't really do much to change that. And while part of that is true, there are also a lot of not so traditional methods to increase your height. So there's a couple things I want to go over first before I try to explain what these methods are. But initially, I think one of the most beneficial things for a kid that's like maybe 12 to 15 years old, which is usually when you start growing the most, is taking advantage of your testosterone and your growth hormone. So there's a good chance if you're watching this, you probably lift weights. If you aren't, weight training is shown to increase your growth hormone production. And it would also, I'm gonna butcher it, but I'm pretty sure when you lift weights, the stress on your bones that you put from lifting heavy weights, it kind of tells your body like, hey, we need to grow thicker bones. So that's where the whole height increasing thing comes in, because your bones are getting bigger and thicker. It will over time lead to you getting taller. So that is why weight training is good for you. But if you are already weight training, there are a couple things I started implementing, and I feel like they greatly helped, not with just my height, but also with morning wood. For a long time, I didn't have morning wood until I started doing this. So when we work out, we release a lot of growth hormone. And if we eat like right after our workouts, there's people out there that will have a Rice Krispie, or they'll have a bunch of sugar, carbohydrates, because they think it's like fast acting, right? And they'll eat that right before the workouts. But what they don't know is when you have this in your system, it's harder for your body to release as much growth hormone, meaning you're not going to get a big of a boost of growth hormone when you're working out if you eat right before. Even if it's like a small little pre-workout meal, it's the same thing. So what I started doing is, because I watched this guy, and I'll link him in the description below because he's where I got this from. But I just wanted to try it out because, like, obviously I'm 17 years old. I want to maximize my growth hormone. So what he suggested is eating 2 to 4 hours before your workouts, like any meal, any carbohydrates, like all these like things that are supposed to help you out with your workout. Um, I feel like pre-workout is the only thing you can take right before your workout because it's literally just water. As for like little Rice Krispies, all this stuff, you should probably have that 2 hours before at least. And that's kind of what I do. I do 2 hours before my workouts. I don't do 4 hours. I feel like that's a little bit excessive. I'd be hungry, but that could just be me coping, but it's what works with me. I just do at least 2 hours because that's the bare minimum. So eating 2 to 4 hours before your workout is going to give you a greater growth hormone release, which allows you to get a bigger boost of growth hormone. And second of all, is eating right before bed, which is what I used to do. I'd be like, oh, dude, it's 9 p.m. And I just shove a bunch of food down my throat, and then I just go straight into bed, not even considering what's wrong with that. And what's wrong with that is the same concept of working out. You have all these, I think it's sugar glucose. If you have too much sugar glucose, it's going to be harder for your body to produce the growth hormone you need. So that first hour of sleep, if you're not already in bed, that sugar glucose, it's gonna be like taking up that whole hour, or taking up some of it, depending on when you ate and when you usually go to bed. But point is, so if you go to bed at 10, usually you don't want to eat anything after 8 p.m. because if you eat later than that, it's gonna be in your system, it's gonna be in your sugar glucose, and it's gonna be harder for you to produce growth hormone. And I feel like if you're in this age, you need to maximize how much growth hormone you have. When I was 14 or 15, I could have easily been 2 to 3 inches taller right now if I knew this advice. But this was during quarantine. I was depressed. I wasn't going outside, so I wasn't getting vitamin D. I wasn't lifting weights, so I wasn't putting stress on my bones. And I feel like those are very two crucial things. And also, I wasn't eating healthy. I was just eating a bunch of granola and sugar, and it was very bad. Now for the not so traditional methods. Since I gave you my 2 tips on growth hormone, what you could do on top of that is, obviously, if you're gonna have high testosterone as a kid, because you're gonna be, going through puberty, you're gonna get all this, you're gonna get a bunch of superpowers, bro. You're getting a bunch of superpowers at this age. So maximize that. Just do the basics, bro. Work out, lift heavy, but also do it with good form and don't injure yourself. And also, obviously, eat healthy. You don't want to be eating a bunch of chips and protein processed stuff. Eat real food, bro. Just go to the store, ask your mom to make, just eat the food your mom makes. Trust me, I'm pretty sure it's gonna be good food. And so if you're a little bit older, I'm pretty sure the age where our growth plates completely close is the age of 25. But let's say rumors are true and your growth plates close at age 21. So I'm 17. I'm about to turn 18. I have a solid 3 months, and I mean, yeah, 3 months, 3 years until my growth plates fully close. Meaning I have 3 years to maximize my height, but I'm hoping it's 25, so I have a little bit more time. But essentially, what this method is it's when you put a lot of tears in your ankle, and I don't mean this physically, like grabbing a pickaxe and putting a tear on your ankle. It means like putting excessive amount of work on your ankles, and I'm not sure why it's ankle specifically, but I think it's because why most runners, why most swimmers, why most track people are usually pretty lanky and tall is because they put an excessive amount of stress on their ankles, and they're causing a bunch of tears. Especially, we know this most of all with basketball people that play basketball. They're constantly jumping, they're constantly putting all that stress on their ankles, and it's just like causing little micro tears. And what these little micro tears do is that your body, similarly to how when you weight train, it's like, oh shoot, we got to repair it, bump it up. And then I'm not sure what the science behind it is, but the whole idea is you create these little micro tears in your ankles, causing you to grow taller. And it sounds a little bit bullshitty. I'll pull up any research I can find, which I'm pretty sure I will find, but this was a little bit more non-traditional, so finding research on this is going to be a little bit harder. But it's just something you have to try. Like, if there aren't many other ways to grow in height other than going through a painful ass surgery, why would you not, do a little bit of jumping jacks and do a little bit of sprinting for 3 sets of 5? Like, why would you not do that? Like, it's not even that terrible. So how do you cause micro tears in your ankles? It could be sprint jumping, it could be skipping, it could be playing basketball, it could literally be just jumping up and down constantly, it could be an excessive amount of calf raises. But honestly, I don't think calf raises would do that much. I think jumping and sprinting would do the most, because you're literally putting an excessive amount of force. You're like, boom, you're jumping off the floor. I feel like that would be the best way to go about it. So those are the methods I have for you to increase your growth hormone production as a teenager, and to also try the not so traditional methods that scientists don't really talk about, to try to, you know, damage, not really damage, but add tears into your ankles to force your body to produce more and allowing you to grow potentially taller.